Welcome back to Five Ever Timepieces, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of luxury watches, discuss some of the stories behind these iconic pieces, as well as bring you guys relevant and up-to-date news from within the luxury watch world. Now today we're diving into a watch that has redefined the meaning of luxury. The Rolex Daytona, reference number 126598TRU. Now, we all know Rolex is the king of the luxury watch world. It's the brand that has built its reputation on precision, durability, and prestige. But this watch, this is on another level. We're talking about a Rolex with an 18 karat yellow gold case, a ruby set bezel, and a full diamond pavé dial, but it's also a Daytona. All of this for a staggering price of $1.35 million. Now, this isn't just a watch. It's a statement, a masterpiece, and arguably one of the most visually stunning Daytonas ever produced. Over the next few minutes, I'll be breaking down what makes this watch so special, the legacy of the Rolex Daytona and why it's such an icon, the craftsmanship and materials used to justify this price tag, as well as how this compares to other high-end Rolexes and whether or not it's a good investment. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. Now, beginning with the legacy of the Rolex Daytona, before we get into the specifics of the reference number 126598TRU, let's talk about the Rolex Daytona as a whole. The Daytona is arguably Rolex's most famous sports chronograph. It was originally designed for professional racing drivers back in the 1960s. Offering up Rolex's high precision and durability for those who needed to basically track their speed accurately. But let's be real. The Daytona today is far more than just a racing tool. Today, it's a cultural icon. Paul Newman, John Mayer, and countless other celebrities have cemented the Daytona status as, one of the most collectible watches in the world. Some of the rarest vintage Daytonas, like the Paul Newman Daytona 6239, have sold for over $17 million at auction. So when Rolex releases a Daytona, people pay attention. It's not just a luxury timepiece. It's a watch with history, prestige, and with a demand that always outstrips the supply. The steel Daytonas like the reference number 116500LN, these already have waiting lists stretching years. But the Rolex Daytona reference number 126598TRU, this is a completely different league. We're talking about a watch that's nearly impossible to get, unless you're one of the or among the ultra elite. This isn't a watch that's sitting in your local Rolex boutique waiting to be picked up either. It's reserved for VIP clients, serious collectors, and those individuals with the right connections. But what makes this watch special? Let's break it down piece by piece. As far as the materials, we have 18 karat gold, rubies, and diamonds. One of the biggest reasons for the $1.35 million price tag is the materials. Rolex didn't hold back when they made this one. Every detail is designed to scream exclusivity and opulence. The 18 karat yellow gold case. Now, the case is made entirely from Rolex's in-house 18 karat yellow gold. This is crafted in their own foundry. That's right, you heard me. Rolex doesn't source its gold from suppliers. Instead, They create their own proprietary blend to ensure maximum durability and unique luster. If you've ever worn a gold Rolex, you know it has a completely different feel compared to the steel Rolexes. It's heavier, warmer, and it has a level of presence that just can't be matched. And with the ruby set bezel, then there's the bezel, probably the most eye-catching feature of this Daytona. Now, instead of the traditional ceramic or metal tachometer bezel, Rolex has gone all in by placing 36 baguette-cut rubies. Now, each one of these rubies is precisely cut and set by hand. And Rolex ensured that the color and clarity of every single stone is perfectly matched. If you've ever seen lower quality rubies, I'll just say, you know they can sometimes have that uneven coloration or cloudiness that doesn't happen with Rolex. And why rubies? Well, first of all, they contrast beautifully against the gold case. Second, rubies are among the rarest and most valuable gemstones in the world, especially when cut to Rolex's exacting standards. Moving to the diamond pavé dial. Now, with this dial, we have a fully diamond pavé surface. Every inch of this watch face is covered in brilliant cut diamonds. These diamonds are, set to perfection. The pavé setting isn't just about bling. It's about craftsmanship. Setting this many diamonds while also maintaining readability, symmetry, and durability, this takes extreme skill. And then there are the hour markers. These are also rubies, perfectly complementing the ruby bezel. And when you combine all of this, the gold, the rubies, the diamonds, you start to understand why this watch is in a league of its own. Now, with the movement, it uses Rolex's caliber 4130. Now, of course, Rolex isn't just about aesthetics. Even at $1.35 million, this is still a tool watch built with the same precision as any other Daytona. Inside the reference number 126598TRU, you have the Rolex caliber 4130. Now, this is Rolex's in-house automatic chronograph movement. Here are just some of a few key specs with this movement. You have a 72-hour power reserve. You also have that superlative chronometer certification, that minus 2 seconds per day accuracy. It has that column wheel chronograph with the vertical clutch. And it also has a hairspring for better shock and magnetic resistance. So the movement has been in production since 2000. And this is widely regarded as one of the best chronograph calibers in the world. It's incredible when it comes to reliability, efficiency, and it also has fewer parts than the previous Daytona movements, reducing the chance of any kind of mechanical failure. Now, you might be wondering, does a watch like this really need such a high performance movement? Yes, it does. Rolex doesn't cut corners, even on their most exclusive pieces. But how does this compare to some other higher end Rolexes? Sorry about that. Now, let's talk about how this Daytona stacks up against other ultra luxury Rolex watches. The Rolex Rainbow Daytona reference number 116595 RBOW, for instance. Now, this is one of the most famous high jewelry Daytonas. It's the Rainbow Daytona. This features a bezel with multicolored sapphires instead of rubies. This watch retails for around $100 to $150, but on the secondary market, no. It's sold for over $700,000 on the secondary market. Now, compared to the 126598TRU, The Rainbow Daytona is flashy, but slightly less rare, if you want to say that. The use of rubies instead of a multicolored design, this gives the reference number 126598TRU a more focused luxury aesthetic, let's just say. Then there's Rolex's Pearlmaster 39. This is actually my personal favorite Rolex. You know, the Pearlmaster reference number 86285. Now, the Pearlmaster Rolex is another high jewelry collector's piece. You know, this is known for its full pavé diamond cases and bracelets. Some Pearlmaster models go for around $500,000 to $1 million. You know, making them among some of the most expensive Rolexes, but they don't carry the same legendary status as the Daytonas, for example. The 126598TRU reference number, this merges that high jewelry with an iconic sports model, you know, giving it an edge over the Pearlmaster in terms of prestige. Is the $1.35 million price tag worth it? That's the big question. The Rolex Daytona reference number 126598TRU, is it really worth the $1.3.5 million? Yes. If we are talking strictly in the terms of materials, the answer will probably be no, but even with the gold, rubies, and diamonds, the raw materials don't even add up to $1.35 million. But luxury watches are never about just simply raw materials alone. They're about exclusivity, craftsmanship, the brand's prestige, as well as any cultural significance. This isn't a watch you'll ever see just on anyone's wrist. It's an instant collectible, likely to appreciate over time. It represents also the pinnacle of Rolex's gem-setting craftsmanship. If you're an ultra high net worth individual who already has a collection of Daytonas, this is the ultimate flex piece. And for investors, a rare timepiece or a rare high-end jewelry piece or a rare high-end Rolex, these have consistently performed well at auctions. The Rolex Daytona, for my final thoughts, the Rolex Daytona reference number 126598TRU, this is one of the boldest, most extravagant watches Rolex has ever made. At $1.35 million, it's an extreme statement of exclusivity, wealth, and someone appreciating fine watchmaking. So whether or not it is worth it, it depends on your perspective. But one thing for sure is this watch will go down in history as one of Rolex's most audacious creations. What do you think? Would you drop $1.35 million on this Daytona? Or would you go for something else? Let me know. Hit me up on Instagram. If you're listening on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. If you're listening in on any other major platforms where we do our podcast, that includes Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Apple Podcast, and many more, please follow us and leave us a review. Drop a comment as well if you're listening in on YouTube. Or just send in your thoughts, like I said, on Instagram. My handle is 5 Ever Timepieces. That's going to be it for today's episode of 5 Ever Timepieces. If you've enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe, like I said. And I just want to say thanks for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.